Today is 1.7, displaying and interpreting data. You're going to have to make a line graph and a histogram or a bar graph today. This is 1.7. Tomorrow is a practice test for Chapter 1, and on Tuesday when you come back to school, it will be Chapter 1 test. Make a line graph for the data. And you'll notice in the chart here you have 4 years, 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010. And for each of those years, the population is written beside it. To make a line graph, you should start out with your y-axis and then your x-axis. Usually when you're given a set of data, the first column represents the x-axis. And that's the line that's at the bottom of your graph. You have 4 different items there that you need to plot. So we'll zoom in on this, and we'll make 4 marks. And those represent the years of 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010. Now you have the population, and that's going to go up the left-hand side, which is the y-axis. You can label these many different ways. There is no one right way to do it. There are some really bad ways to do it, and that is, since you have 192.3 million to start with, are we going to make 192.3 million marks on this graph? No. We want to section this off to where it's easy to read, easy to understand, and easy to count. So if our lowest number is 192.3 million and our highest is 312.8 million, we could probably section this off like the following. We could start with 200 million. And then we could go up to 225 million, 250 million, 275 million, 300 million. And that should allow us to plot the data that is in the population. So remember, the first year was 1980 and the population was 192.3 million. So let's go through and make a dot where those items intersect. Here's 1980 here, and we need to go up 192.3 million, which is approximately there, just below the 200 million mark. So go to 1990. And for 1990, it is 223.5 million. So it's just below the 225 million mark. For the year 2000, it is 286.1 million. So let's go over to 2000 and go up to 286.1 million, which is somewhere between 275 and 300. And then our last one is 312.8 million. And it's going to be above the 300 million mark, and I'll use a red dot because it looks like it might bleed over into the black. So we go over to the 2010 area and make it just above the 300 million. Once you make the line graph with the dots, you're going to have to go back through and connect them up. Connect the dots in order, so go here, here, and here. So we're going to make a line graph. We have 4 different years, and we're going to put them over here. It goes from 1920 to 1930, 1940, and 1950. Now up the left-hand side we have 96.2 all the way up to 182. So we could make this go from 100 to 200 and section it off in between however you would like. So we'll start here and go with 100 million, and then we can go up to 150, and then 200 million. Now put the dots in there, and I'll try to make these a little bit larger. We'll go there, there, and there. We'll make them red. Alright, the first one in 1920 is 96.2 million, so it's got to be just a little bit below the 100. And then for 1930 it's 112, so it's got to be above, but not all the way to the half, between 100 and 150. In 1940, 152.4 million, that's just a hair above the 150 million. And then for 182.3, it's got to be more than halfway between 150 and 200. So we'll make it approximately there. When you connect the dots, you should have this. And there should be some difference in between the dots. What I mean is, this isn't just a straight line like that. Notice there is some change in it. We'll go through and answer the questions. For which 10-year interval was the growth the greatest? Where is the biggest increase in population between what 2 years? Yes.
1930 and 1940.
That's right, 1930 and 1940. Describe the general trend, number 2. What best describes what's happening in this graph? It can be just one word. Yeah.
There's an incline in population.
That's right. There's an incline, or you can say it's increasing. One of the two. Increasing in the population. Predict the population for 1960. What do you think it's going to be in 1960? Yeah.
I said 200.5.
All right, 200.5. And it's a prediction, so it could be right, it could be wrong. But so we're not going to count right or wrong because you had to make a prediction. So numbers or answers could vary on that. Your line graph, I'll be generous with the line graph. I'll be generous with number 2. And I'll be generous with that one. But if you have an answer to all of these and you chose 1930 to 1940 as the one that had the greatest increase, then come on up and show me. A histogram is the same thing as a bar graph, and you're going to start it off just like a line graph. But in this case, you're going to have columns or bars instead of just dots. So when that's the case, you're going to have intervals like 10 to 19, 20 to 29, and so on. There are 2 different ways to section this off on your graph at the bottom. I'm going to show you the way that I use the most. We need 5 marks on the bottom of your graph. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you have to write down the intervals in there. So the first one is 10 to 19. And then it goes 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, and 50 to 59. Now look at your numbers here in the second column. The lowest number in there is 12. And what's the highest number? So we got to go somewhere from 12 to 51. We can go by tens and probably include everything we need to have. So let's just go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And label those off. Now go through and find the first thing you have to graph. The category is 10 to 19 and there were 17 people. These are how your bars are going to go. Your bar is going to be over top the middle. The middle of your bar is going to line up with that hash mark on the bottom. So it's going to look like this. The first one has 17, so go up to 17 and then over. Notice that bar goes halfway between the 10 to 19 and then the 20 to 29 categories. For the second one, 20 to 29, there were 12. So we're going to go at 12 over and down and make a bar. For the next one, it is 32. So we have to find 32, which is approximately there, go over, and then down. The next one is 51. So 51 is going to be approximately here, over, and then down. And your last one is 28. Approximately here, over, and then down. That's a histogram. So which age group listens the least? 20 to 29. You can tell that from the graph, and you can also look at the chart. 20 to 29. How many in the oldest age group still listen to the radio? Yep.
28.
28 is right. You can tell that from the chart.